Hello and welcome once again to Hude Hour on Hude Network, where as usual, we delve into issues within the humanitarian and development space. As always, I am Amadine Ogbewe.
And I am Joan Eze. It's good to have you. You're welcome. Hi Amadine, how are you doing today?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good.
So how's it been? Coming here, trying to make a difference in the humanitarian development space?
Well, it's been wonderful. Just like we said behind the scene, that when you leave something for a while and you get back, you won't really know that you've really missed it so much. So we are back here, full energy, full strength, ready to kick off.
Indeed. Anyway, and speaking about energy, that's part of what we're discussing today.
Exactly.
It matters to me, it matters to you too, if you consider yourself a youth, if you
do.
are a youth.
I do.
Anyway, so that's what we're talking about today, and the importance and what we can do as a people. Anyway, let's go straight into it. Youths represent the driving force of innovation and progress, holding the potential to transform societies. Since the adoption of the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the world has acknowledged the vital role of young people in achieving these ambitious goals.
Youth involvement is key to the Sustainable Development Agenda, from addressing poverty and inequality to championing climate action. The contributions of young people span across all 17 Sustainable Development Goals.
Today, we'll delve into how youths are shaping the implementation and development of the 2030 Agenda. We'll also share inspiring global stories and highlight efforts to empower young leaders. But now, here's a look at our headlines. FAO trains youths on leadership to transform food systems. WMO launches Youth Action Plan to tackle disasters. And now we have WIPO launches Youth Empowerment Strategy, IPYES. Well, I will delve more into this as the program continues. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Around the world, young people are at the forefront of driving sustainable change. According to UNDISA, over half the global population is under 30, and this figure is projected to rise to 57% by 2030. Yet, youths often face systemic barriers such as unemployment, lack of education access, and limited representation in decision-making processes.
Indeed, more than 2/3, that is 69% of people across all age groups in a survey by the United Nations agreed that increasing opportunities for young people to participate in policymaking would improve political systems. Yet, globally, only 2.6% of parliamentarians are under 30, and less than 1% of these young members of parliamentary are women.
Now, the numbers reveal the potential, but also the need for more inclusive policies. We'll explore these dynamics as we continue. Don't go anywhere. Now, to the first news item. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, the FAO, in partnership with United Nations Food Systems Coordination Center, hosted a youth leadership program workshop in Santiago, Chile, from May 6 to 10 in 2024. Funded by the German government through the Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, the BMZ, the event trained 25 young leaders from Latin America and the Caribbean to drive sustainable transformation in agri-food systems. The workshop aimed to equip emerging professionals, public officials, and private sector representatives with leadership skills to develop transformative policies, implement science-based solutions, and foster sustainable business models aligned with Sustainable Development Goals. Participants engaged in sessions on collective intelligence, systemic thinking, and leadership resilience, alongside field visits to projects. The workshop is a part of a broader initiative spanning Asia, Africa, and Latin America to strengthen youth capacity, integrate the SDGs into development agendas, and promote collaboration for systemic change in food systems. Well, that's the interesting one there. Whenever we talk about youths, sometimes some persons have dissenting opinions where they say, well, you're too young, you don't know enough, you need to gain more experience. It's like the running joke where we see someone uh, is about to apply for an entry-level job and is being told you need 5 years experience. Where's the experience coming from?
Exactly.
Someone who just came out of school. So similarly, it goes to show that youths being empowered leads to them being able to do the work that we feel as a people that they should be allowed to do. So the empowerments and the trainings, these are the things we get there. And the trainings are for sustainability, not just, well, let's do this as a one-off. You do it so that people can sustain it. And for instance, in this case, revamp the food system, not just maybe give food to some persons who are hungry and then start afresh to ensure that the system lasts and fixes the problems long term.
Yeah, this brings me to the saying, the popular saying in the African continent that instead of you to keep giving me fish, why don't you teach me how to fish? So, and teaching someone how to fish is like a sustainable goal because you are not you've permanently placed food on that person's table because when you are giving the person one day, tomorrow you come and give the person, the day you don't have or you run out of stock, what happens? So it's very important that the youth are very, very involved in this, and this program is very, very important because and it's a stepping stone for the youth to go ahead and advocate and change the food system so that the sustainable goal can be achieved.
Indeed.
Let's go to the next news item we have. The World Meteorological Organization, WMO Executive Council, has announced plans to develop a youth action plan to strengthen the role of young people in addressing climate change and disaster resilience. WMO Secretary General Celeste Saulo emphasized the importance of empowering youth, stating, "It is not just about listening, but giving youth the opportunity to take action." The plan includes appointing a youth focal point within the WMO Secretariat to coordinate with global and regional partners. The initiative also calls on WMO regional associations, technical commissions, and other bodies to designate youth representatives. To support its implementation, the decision stems from mounting concerns over the vulnerability of young people to climate change. It is important to note that 1 billion children face extreme climate risk, with warming scenarios potentially leading to 5 times more severe weather events. Between 2016 and 2021, 43 million children were displaced due to climate-related disasters. Additionally, mental health impacts such as eco-anxiety are increasingly prevalent, affecting 89% of young Australians in recent survey. Well, this is climate change we're talking about, and it is not just a country challenge or a continent challenge. It's a world challenge, and this is something that we need to act very fast to stop what is coming in the future. And involving the youth into this is a very, very good step, I believe, because they have the strength, they have the capacity. And just from what we read, it's saying that it's time for us to allow them to take action. They should go into the field because it's not enough to teach a child the whole theoretical aspect of it. You give the child a platform to exhibit what he or she has been taught. The practical aspect of it is very, very paramount. So allowing the youth, involving the youth in decision-making, policy-making, and advocacy, very important because these youths, they have the capacity to involve different social media platforms in the aspect of advocacy. And of course, people from different, both in the rural, the local areas, get to understand that, okay, climate change is something that we all need to hold hands together to fight against.
Indeed, and it's good that the WMO is starting to have a youth section for all of this.
Yeah.
But like I said, the issue here is about ensuring that when you allow youths in, you allow them in completely,
Yeah.
because there's a tendency for things to be created and youth thrown on top of it as sort of a way to keep the youth in a certain place so that when the real discussions are happening,
Yeah.
they don't, disrupt it. So I think it needs to be holistic, it needs to be real, and we'll look forward to how well that implementation is done. Well, we'll go on a break now. When we return, we'll take our final news item of the day before we move on to other parts of the program. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And now, the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, has unveiled its first youth empowerment strategy called IPYES, a policy framework designed to inspire, educate, and empower the next generation of creators, innovators, and entrepreneurs. The initiative aims to enhance youth engagement in the global intellectual property system. The strategy focuses on three core areas: sparking passion by promoting youth led innovation and creativity, building skills through IP education and training, and empowering action by creating opportunities for young people to apply their knowledge and succeed in their chosen fields. IPES responds to findings from WIPO's Pulse survey, which revealed that individuals aged 18 to 24 are significantly lower IP awareness compared to other age groups. The new framework seeks to address this gap by equipping young people with the tools and resources needed to transform their ideas into tangible outcomes. The launch of IPS is a measure of WIPO's commitment to fostering a more inclusive and dynamic IP ecosystem, empowering young innovators to shape the future of global innovation. Well, like I said, before, there's no better time than now to get into this, because we're talking about content creation, and people need to know their rights and their what they can or how far they can go with their own intellectual property.
Yeah, it's very, very important because we have a lot of creators, we have a lot of innovators, from artists to authors to social media content creators. A lot of people are really going through into amazing content, and it's very, very important for their intellectual property to be backed up by the law and for them to be well detailed about it.
All right, that's how we end this segment for now. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll be joined by a guest. He is the chief executive at iLead Africa, talking about Yusuf Abiodun. He's going to join us to do justice to the issue of the role of youths in global development. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Every day, amazing stories of hope and tenacity unfold across the globe. On Hude Hour, we dive into these inspiring tales and discuss the vital work being done in the humanitarian and development space. Humanity has never faced a shortage of challenges, yet we rise stronger through teamwork and determination. Though these remedies are often underreported, on Hude Hour, we advocate sustainable solutions. We bring you the latest and most impactful news on how lives are being changed. We engage with young change makers and experts who provide valuable insights into relief efforts and the challenges faced by local communities through a global perspective. Join us every Wednesday by 8 a.m. on Hude Network's YouTube channel as we embark on this journey of positive change.
Hey everyone, let's face it, our world today experiences numerous challenges. And guess what? Our community isn't off the hook either. Most of the world issues are either not talked about enough or never talked about at all. But here on Timeline, we've got you covered. We dive deep into issues that affect us every day, leaving behind footprints of wisdom, knowledge, and solutions. Think of it like a roadmap that keeps you on the track for success. So buckle up, because in this new season of Timeline, we're taking another trip through the past, the present, and navigate into a more promising future. Again, we're talking solutions, people. And let's make one thing clear. This is not your average blah 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 convo. This is real talk with a side of inspiration and a sprinkle of wow. I never thought about it like that. I'm your host on this impactful ride. Together, we'll tackle the tough stuff, laugh a little, and find ourselves on the path to positive change. So what are you waiting for? Season 2 of Timeline will be loaded. Let's get started. Hop in and let's drive straight into the heart of issues shaping our world. Let's go. Oh, one more thing. Hit that subscribe button and let's take this ride together.
Well, it's still Youth O'Clock right here on Hude Hour. Right now, we're being joined by a guest in the building to do justice to the issue of SDG Progress Watch, how youths are affecting this global push to ensure the sustainable development goals. We're joined now by the lead at I Lead Africa, is the founder. He's Yusuf Abiodun. He joins us now to do justice. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
It's good to have you.
Thank you so much.
All right, I want to dive straight into the meat of it without beating around the bush. How would you say global partnerships are helping youth engagement in achieving the sustainable development goals across regions?
Oh, thank you, Amadine. First, we need to know that the Sustainable Development Goal, it's a responsibility of everyone. It was adopted by member states of United Nations in 2015. So we are in 10 years now. And, it's a universal call to action to end poverty, address some global challenges like climate change, hungers, and educations. And the United Nations, as the administrative of these global goals, they have been, especially when it's come to involving the young people in taking the ownership, because globally more than 2/3 of young people are the total population of the world, and that give the young people as the shareholder when it's come to realizing the Sustainable Development Goal. And they have an initiative called Youth 2030. The Youth 2030 UN Youth strategies to empower young people to actually be part of the Sustainable Development Goals and take actions. They also have recently, I think before the end of 2023, they established UN Youth Office. This is to coordinate the efforts of the young people across the world that are working towards realization of Sustainable Development Goal SDG. And beyond that, we have a various partnership that are putting together globally and locally. So one of it is the UNICEF Generation Unlimited. So it's also a partnership with other UN agency to make the voice of young people heard in the policy making processes and be part of decision making. And also at the local level, as an organization at I Lead Africa, we also have a global platform called Be the Change Global Initiative. It's our effort to ensure that the young people from Africa, they are not leaving behind when it's come to participating in the actualization of Sustainable Development Goals. We have as a network across most African countries like Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria as a whole, and what we do is to empower them to be part of the Sustainable Development Goal, SDG. Yeah.
What does that empowerment look like before we move on?
Yeah, part of the empowerment is the training, the capacity building. because as we are speaking now, a lot of people, they don't even know what the SDG is all about. They don't know the definition, they don't know the full meaning, and they don't have the knowledge on how they can be part of it. So I have know the number of the call I used to, they want to be part of this, they want to join this, and we created that platform for them to learn about the sustainable development goal. But because what you don't have a knowledge about, it will be difficult for you to be part of it. So the knowledge first, then we look at the mentorship aspect of it. When you have the knowledge, how do you go about it? We have some local-based organizations that we guide on how they can structure their organization and be part of the civil society network. And beyond that, recently, before end of the last year, we look beyond the training. So we want to walk the talk. After the training, a series of mentorship sessions, we selected 3 of them based on our capacity to give them a little funding to implement a project in their local community. And the outcome is awesome. So this year, we look forward to do more. Yeah.
Okay, so you've mentioned the question I was supposed to ask earlier concerning the training and support. Let's quickly talk about the barriers. What are those things that can impede the youth from achieving the SDG Agenda 2030 goal?
Yeah, one of the challenges the young people are facing is the knowledge gap. There's a lot to do when it's come to creating awareness about the sustainable development, because as we are speaking now, a lot of young people, they don't know what the SDG is all about and how they can be part of it. And we need to put a lot of work in place to ensure that everyone they have the knowledge about it, because once you don't have the knowledge about it, it will be difficult for you to be part of it. So creating awareness, coming up with courses around the SDG when someone can go online and take that course, and organizing a seminar or training on sustainable development goals and how the young people can participate can also go a long way. Another challenge is the funding. Financial constraint, it's impeding the participation of young people when it's come to realization of global goal. And I think we also need to do a lot on that. After the training and the knowledge, we need to empower them to get a grant to implement a project, that will give them a practical experience on what they have learned. And beyond that, we also need to create enabling environment. I think that is from the side of the government. There's not enough of platform for young people to participate, especially when it comes to decision-making processes. So it also serves as a challenge. And also, we need to look beyond because there's a stigma to the young people. They are not really free when it comes to partnering with the youth-led or youth-focused organization, based on maybe they think, oh, you are doing a youth program, just, that stereotype, like youth, they most categorize them as small. So they don't see it as a big challenge, as something that you need to put effort into. So we need to, the young people have also faced that stigma, and we need to work towards that to ensure that we improve the partnership with the young or youth-led organizations. Yeah.
All right, before we move on to other matters, I'd like to speak to the issue of practical examples like you mentioned. Before we delve further, what are some very specific examples of how youths can make a difference? Perhaps it's taking some examples from any of the SDGs so people can begin to grasp how exactly a youth could influence things.
All right, thank you so much. I think, let me start from the idea of digital technology, because innovation has been part of the work that we do. And I think anyone coming on board now, you need to see what they have been doing before and how you can improve on that. What's the gap? What's the lapses? And can you close that? How can you close that gap? Coming up with a tech-based initiative. We have right now, the young people can think of the courses in our primary and secondary school it can be a challenge to you, and that's a particular example you can take. And also, when we look at the youth unemployment, it's a global challenge, and as young people, you can see how you can work in closing that gap, coming up with an ideas. Right now, we're working on AI-based system that's going to help youth not only finding job. You need to take courses on that platform. You need to also give you a professional CV, because the youth unemployment started with, even if you have the job, do you have what it takes as in terms of skills? Do you have what it takes when it's come to presenting yourself as a professional and expert on the work that you want to do? So, and the most of it is the climate change and coming up with a tech base. When I mean the tech base, it's not necessary to be a website or app or something, but leverage on the technology and what you want to do can serve as an innovation, because the reality is there's nothing that's not in existence before. But how can you do differently that will make you to that will distinguish you as young people, and the innovation in what you do will set you aside. Yeah.
Okay, so Abiodun, I want you to tell us. We all know that there are various SDG goals in every community. By the time you go to different local communities or in urban areas as well, you see that there are a lot of things that needs to be done that corresponds with the sustainable development goals.
Yeah.
So what are those strategies that are effective, that can make the young people to see their communities and achieve this SDG goals? What are those strategies that can be effective to put in place?
Yeah, I think as an organization, let me speak from the I-lead perspective.
Okay.
So our Beach Change initiative, we have a model. We have a Beach Change model, and it serves as a strategy for young people that want to become a change maker. And the first of it is, finding a knowledge about the particular issue you want to address. You can't be part of what you are not understand. You can't be part of the solution. So you need to understand the challenges, the problem, go to that local community, talk to them, ask them why they're having this issue, and they're really ready to, work together to provide a solution to it. Because most community, you may think, having access to water is the problem, but that may not be the major problem. It's when you begin to ask them about what they have, the challenges they are facing, and you are curious about getting more knowledge about it and how you can solve that problem. Share it with them and work together to see how you can come up with a sustainable solution to that. And beyond that, the strategies can also be supporting partnership and collaboration with. It's what we have been using before we begin to have access to the support. We leverage on partnership and collaboration with other organizations, and that will lead to the digital technology. Can also go a long way. I keep saying the digital technology because most of my work, it's leverage on technology. You can, if you don't have the resources to organize a physical training, you can have a Zoom meeting and talk about the way forward. It's also part of the action you are taking. You can educate people about the climate change. You can use the Google Meet or the Zoom. So that is also part of the action. And when you get the full resources, you can now mobilize people and go to community. And we also need to, put aside the money thinking problem. As a young people, we need to look an innovative way of solving problem. Yes, the funding, the finance will be a constraint, but what other thing can you do with the little resources that you have? So looking beyond the funding and look around you, you have the resources. You can talk to Amadine to come and speak to young people. That's the resources. I can talk to you, my brother. You can come and speak with my network, and I don't have funding to pay you. I know you'll be glad to volunteer to do that.
Yeah, sorry to cut you short. I want to ask a quick question that is outside the line.
Okay.
So when all these resources, this little resource, because what you're trying to say is we mustn't have the major resources to go into work. We can make do with what the little we have.
Yes.
So when these steps are being taken, how can these local initiatives attract the the presence of the international bodies?
Thank you so much. I think ILEAD is a great example for that.
Okay.
Amadine know about my work and where we started from. It's a local organization, local action from the young people, and how I'm able to, get that global recognition is the practical way that I would like to say it. The first thing is be passionate about what you do, deep passionate about it. Let people know. I mean, not about you are doing this, and don't confuse people about the action you are taking. So you can do it. You can have a lot of things to do, but be passionate about it. Let people know, oh, this person is working on this. When the recognition comes from the local, you will get the global recognition as well. So, and the next thing is to leverage on digital technology, especially social media. Because right now, to communicate with the people, I mean, with someone in the US, with people in Spain, Brazil, you may not have access to go there. But that social media can serve for you. I keep encouraging young people, like myself, I'm here now, and before you see it, before end of today, I need to post something about this. So I'm not posting it for people to like or to comment. I'm posting it for people that will genuinely have interest in the work that I'm doing, and they want to, be part of it.
Yeah.
The like, the comment is also part of for people that have interest, but especially for people that are not in Abuja, for people that are not in Nigeria, and they want to know what Yusuf Liadia is doing on sustainable development, and they need to have a knowledge about it. I will give you an example. There's a program I belong to, it's a Club de Madrid. So international platform for former head of state like president and all that, and they have a youth segment. They call it wide network of young people in decision making. And when I was selected for that, and I think they have a lot of nomination, and they want to go on maybe making the final decision. I'm not so sure, but I know my work on the social media, it's also part of what they look at, because it's another thing when you put on a CV that, oh, you are this, you are that, or on your LinkedIn profile, but it's another thing when they are able to verify and see the real work that you are doing, maybe through your, I cannot just come here and take the picture and line about it, so the video will tell what my activities is all about. And that would be an encouragement to the young people, putting your work aside there. You are less concerned about the comment or the like, but see the social media as one of your the office that you need to open every day, and you need to put your work outside there. You can have the lifestyle, others out of the work, but most especially, let it serve as a platform for you to showcase your work and what you are doing. Yeah.
I feel like you are personally dragging me because I need to do better in that regard. But I like that quote, take it as an office that you need to open every day.
Yes.
So speaking about that, that's the impact young people can have from social media. Just to take it a little bit to an aspect, recently we saw the president of the United States even giving credit to his son for helping him win the election by getting him connected to those places where he could find the most young people. And according to him, he got the young votes. So that being said, let's move a bit now to our civic duties and, the voice of the young people. Like you said, people can tend to look at it as the little stuff that's not important. But if we have these numbers and we have this reach, unlike before, I mean, someone who is older can't reach as much as perhaps a young person with just a phone, even if you're in the middle of 1,000 people. So the question now is, how would you rate the progress of the use of these things in achieving the SDGs so far? Do you see it playing a key role, or is it still something that people have not fully keyed into to understand that there's something here that could solve a problem that you've been trying to solve for decades?
Yeah, first, I would like to acknowledge the effort the stakeholders are putting in, but especially the young people. We first acknowledge that, because no matter how the effort is, we are still making effort. It may not be the way we may not be able to get to where we are going, but at least we are making a little progress. So I will acknowledge that. And also, when it comes to realization of the Agenda 2030, we have 5 years to go. And we have not, according to the report, 2024 report on Sustainable Development Goals, we have not reached half of the way. So we have spent 10 years and we have not reached half of the way. So and we have 5 years left. So for us to know that, there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do, and the civic participation of young people, like I said, is commended. It's commendable. And we just need to put more effort. And like I said earlier, we need to look beyond the problem we are facing. When the problem comes, let's always be a solution thinker. Find our way around it. We don't need to limit ourselves, And I think doing that, we go a long way within this limit. I still believe if we put more effort in place and we have more people know about the Sustainable Development Goal and we begin to take an actions, we will be able to, achieve this by 2030. Let me take, for instance, the issue of climate change. A lot of people don't know owning the night when you don't use it. It's part of a factor that contributes to climate change. So when you don't use your light at home, at your office, switch it off. When you don't have a business to do with water, just pick the little one that you want to use. You don't need to spend the essence. The little actions, it go a long way. Where the UN have a document called the lazy action. Like, if you are lazy, if you don't have you don't want to take part at all, these are the little things you can do at your office, at your home. We need to begin to talk about this and create awareness about it. And when we put all these efforts together, I believe, we can still achieve Agenda 2030 by 2030.
Good. So just a final one before we go in 30 seconds or less. What's your advice to the quote-unquote non-youths, the people who need to, who are mostly in charge now? What's your advice to them as regards involving youths in the progress or in the walk to progress?
Yeah, I think my first advice is to begin to see how they can include young people on the work they are doing. How they can include young people on the work we are doing. Because like what you said, we have the number, we have the capacity, and we have the skills. When you see what young people are doing, what they are using the technology to do in health sector, finance, in education, you'll be amazed.
On entertainment.
And, on entertainment especially. Yeah, it's great. And on the media, so we need to begin to see how we can include young people and tap from their ideas and acknowledge it. And for the government, most especially, creating enabling environment will go a long way. Creating enabling environment, giving the necessary support to the young people, and let you beyond the knowledge. When we give the knowledge, let's give them the support to practicalize what they have learned from that program. So I think doing that we also help in achieving the 2030 agenda.
Thank you so much, Yusuf Abiodun.
Thank you
It's
so
been a
much.
pleasure. And we still have just a segment for the rest of the program. After that, we'll turn off our studio lights and try to minimize like you've advised. But thanks so much for coming anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's how we end this segment of the program. We've been speaking with Yusuf Abiodun. He is the Chief Executive, I Lead Africa, on the matter of the SDG Progress Watch and how youths, the roles they are playing so far. Don't go anywhere. When we return, we'll delve into our final segment of the day as our verified voices. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Every day, amazing stories of hope and tenacity unfold across the globe. On Hude Hour, we dive into these inspiring tales and discuss the vital work being done in the humanitarian and development space. Humanity has never faced a shortage of challenges, yet we rise stronger through teamwork and determination. Though these remedies are often underreported, on Hude Hour, we advocate sustainable solutions. We bring you the latest and most impactful news on how lives are being changed. We engage with young change makers and experts who provide valuable insights into relief efforts and the challenges faced by local communities through a global perspective. Join us every Wednesday by 8 a.m. on Hude Network's YouTube channel as we embark on this journey of positive change.
Hey everyone, let's face it, our world today experiences numerous challenges. And guess what? Our community isn't off the hook either. Most of the world issues are either not talked about enough or never talked about at all. But here on Timeline, we've got you covered. We dive deep into issues that affect us every day, leaving behind footprints of wisdom, knowledge, and solutions. Think of it like a roadmap that keeps you on the track for success. So buckle up, because in this new season of Timeline, we're taking another trip through the past, the present, and navigate into a more promising future. Again, we're talking solutions, people. And let's make one thing clear. This is not your average blah, blah, blah convo. This is real talk with a side of inspiration and a sprinkle of wow. I never thought about it like that. I'm your host on this impactful ride. Together, we'll tackle the tough stuff, laugh a little, and find ourselves on the path to positive change. So what are you waiting for? Season 2 of Timeline will be loaded. Let's get started. Hop in, and let's drive straight into the hearts of issues shaping our world. Let's go. Oh, one more thing. Hit that subscribe button and let's take this ride together.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is still Hude Hour on Hude Network. And we've now dived into our segment now, which is Verified Voices, where we get to take a look at what the key stakeholders are saying at the issue at hand, which today is the issue of youth, the role of youths in global development, particularly how well they've done in achieving progress in the Sustainable Development Goals. On this segment, we're joined by Paul Oladipupo. Hello, Paul. How are you doing?
Hi, Hamadin. How are you doing?
I'm good. And you?
And Joan, how are you doing as well?
I'm fine. Thank you, Paul. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. You have a very beautiful smile. Just
Thank
keep it,
you.
okay? Don't break it.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Amadi, you look good. Like,
Thank you.
I love the tie.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
Okay, yes, that's just to make everyone balanced and all of that. Now, moving on to our verified voices. In no doubt, youth has a very huge role to play in all of this when we talk about development and ensuring that our world is a better place. And that's why we're here talking about the roles of youth in global development. And now we'll be looking at what our stakeholders are saying in the sector. We have this very first tweet here from the Commonwealth. This is one from the Commonwealth Head of Government meeting, which was held in 2024, sometimes in October, in a very small island, I must say. And the whole idea was to also bring about development into that particular island. That's so in the Pacific Island right there. And this particular meeting was chaired by the King of England, King Charles III, where several things were discussed in terms of security, economic development, growth, and a number of things. So this is just from one of the things that they said on the final day. The leaders of Commonwealth reaffirmed their commitment to tackle global challenges and enhancing resilience, sustainable trade, and inclusive growth with a focus on youth and women empowerment. Joan, what's your thoughts on this particular one?
Okay, thank you so much, Paul. It's very important for women to be empowered and youth. And just like our topic is the role of youth in global development, when women are very, very involved in decision making, being empowered in different skills of their choices, it makes the world a better place. And I believe Amadine is in support of that as well.
Indeed, indeed. And I think back to the issue of youths, obviously, you have to remember that there are women involved in that bracket. But I think mine is really just a challenge to those leaders out there to just take a look around themselves and say, where are the youths amongst us here? I mean, where are the leaders? And I hope that that is something that they can begin to work on because when it comes to different groups, groups that have more power should use that power to bring in the next generation or marginalized groups so that we have a fair balance. Even if the leaders themselves might not be youths, they can have people next in line being used and preparing them to take up their roles.
Yeah, I must say, let's also give the example of Byron Trump as well. That's the son of the 42nd and also 47th, 45th and 47th president of the United States. You know, he played a very huge part in his dad's election, really. And even Trump actually had to even state it again during the inauguration. But talking about numbers as well, you mentioned numbers. So let's look at this next tweet. They say about 1.5 billion young people can shape a better future, but too many are excluded from decision-making processes, with elections in 72 countries in 24. Empowering youth to speak up for change is a must. Every voice counts. Hashtag UNGA. That's from the UN General Meeting there. And this one is just saying that the youth has the numbers, but we just need more of them to be in the place where they take decisions. And all of these places are the parliament, the government houses, and things like that. And we need more youth in these sectors. Even before the parliament, also we also have the polling units where people cast their votes. Amadi, I'll start from you this time around. What do you think about this, and how do you think we can actually involve all of these youths? Because you also mentioned that in the last meeting of Commonwealth, the head of government, right, there were just a few youths there, right? So how do we even bring these youths on board to ensure that they are also in the process of decision making?
I think earlier I spoke about the leaders challenging themselves to get more youths, but I also say that youths also should consider doing more. And I say this because when we do see sometimes youths attempt or try to make a headway into leadership or elections, politics, governance, they can face resistance. And I think what's important to know is that you're not always going to get everything on your first try. And that's an advice that works across board. So if you try, keep trying, and eventually, I mean, you literally have time on your side, all things being equal. So keep trying, and I think eventually you could get the results
One
you
day
want.
you get there.
1.5 billion people. That's a lot of numbers.
It's a lot of numbers. Talking about numbers now, and I also know that your guest also mentioned some of the challenges they are facing at the moment. A TV presenter in Uganda, he says that he took a quick poll of youth online, right? And he asked youths, really, now where do you fall and what is your employment status? I tell you that first, when I saw this tweet, I was first shocked because the kind of response that were there, about 4,000 people responded, and we had a very high percent, that's 39.8% saying that they are jobless and searching for jobs, while 38.2% say they're employed but just a little pay, while 12.7% of them say they're employed and okay, and then 9.3% are employed and comfortable. Amadine, this is a very disturbing number, I must say, because if you look at the margin, I'm so sure, I think around this about 1,600 people there, they are saying that they don't have jobs at the moment and they are unemployed. And even those, there are even some, again, that are employed, but the pay doesn't match up. Joan, your thoughts on this one?
Well, it's quite unfortunate that joblessness and still job hunting is topping the charts, is topping the poll. 39.8% is a very, very huge number, and still following people that also got employed but little pay. That can also be equated to people that don't have a job, because when you're working and you don't have anything to show for it, is as good as you're not working. So it's quite unfortunate that most of the people that fall under this are the youths. And just like Douglas said, it's obviously the youths that actually took this poll. So I don't know, it's a very, very disturbing matter, and action needs to be taken so fast.
Yeah, I think what's even more disturbing for me is the fact that some are employed and are still not paid rightly, right? Because in the real sense, if you are the whole point of being employed is so that you can make a living. But if you are not paid well enough, meaning that you are not living up to the normal standard of living, I'm adding your thoughts. I'll take your reactions now.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that Douglas is a strong youth advocate.
Yeah,
most of his contents are geared towards youths.
Yeah, they're always directed towards youth. Yeah, so this is actually not far off, I must say.
Yeah, and I think the 9.3%, lucky for them, they are employed.
That's a very small percent.
I know. I mean, and that's why we shouldn't be talking about luck here. The base or the standard for quality of life should be enough that everybody is fairly comfortable, and then those who want to seek uhuru and other things philosophical, all good to them. But there should be that basic level of comfortability, and I think that's what that poll is highlighting there. People are really in need.
Exactly, people are really in need, and I remember Yusuf Abiodun mentioning that one of the things that are limiting access of youth to getting into all of these places where they can make decisions is the amount that they have at hand. You know, money still seems like a constraint, and I mean, without they say that there's no food for a lazy man. And if these ones are not even lazy, right? They're searching for jobs, and yet there are no jobs for them to work. This is another body that talks about youth, advocates about youth, and also talks about development a lot. And they say that good governance starts with informed and active citizens. In 2025, we are doubling down on initiatives that empower youth to demand accountability and transparency. How will you contribute to better governance this year? I think I will start from Ahmad this time around. How would you do this better this year?
Well, like I've always advocated, one of the things you should do is vote. What will I do personally? Well, I'll come on Hude Hour and I'll tell you to vote. I'll tell you to be more involved in politics, and again, try again. If you fail, you do it again. Nothing good comes easy, as they say. So keep on, and just know that the biggest lie you can be told is that your vote doesn't matter or your voice doesn't count. You can't talk. Even after officials are elected, you still have the power to hold them accountable. You don't just say, well, they've won the election, they can do whatever they like. These are our lives we're talking about. You can't
okay, so because every voice counts, right? I also love to take Joan's voice so that we ensure that our voice also is counting on this matter.
Of course. Thank you so much, Paul. Well, how will you contribute to better governance this year? Our guest said something very, very, very striking, and he said the little things matter. Turning off the bulbs, switching off the water, the tap, when you're not using it to avoid wastage. And also taking care of your environment. Those things that you don't expect the government to come from where they are to your place of living. Okay, your environment should be clean. You don't have to do some certain things. That's a way of contributing to the governance, because when your environment is clean, you're doing the right thing. The government can also help and improve the living standard. So that's for me.
Okay, and it's also important that we also demand accountability and also transparency in our environment. I think that's all I'll have for now. But before I leave you, my name remains Paul, and I'll ask you one question, and I would love to get your reaction. What will you do to contribute to better governance this year? Thanks for having me, Amadine. Over to you.
Thanks so much, Paul. It's good to have you. All right, that's how we round off the program today. I hope you dwell on Paul's question and figure out how you can do your best in that regard. Don't forget, Hude Hour reaches you every Wednesday by 8 a.m. Join us next time. Bye for now. I am Amadine Obere.
And I am Joan Eze. Thank you so much for joining us, and keep being an advocate. Bye for now.